Hello, hello, hello. This is Mental Fitness Friday. I'm Larry McInnes and I am awesome. And I don't have a humility problem, but we're not going to talk about my awesomeness today. I'm going to talk about how awesome you are. Now, sadly, there's an 80% chance that you've forgotten this fact. And it's crucial that you remember your awesomeness because forgetting it negatively affects your happiness, your relationships, and your peak performance. So I'm going to explain here the science behind how we forget our awesomeness and then show you how we can remember. Now, when you were a young kid, it wasn't even a question. You knew you were awesome. It was a given. In fact, you probably took it for granted. But over your formative years, bit by bit, you slowly forgot. And by the time you turn 10, 12, that awesomeness was lost to memory. So instead, you had thoughts and feelings that you weren't worthy, or you weren't good enough, or nothing ever went your way. Now, these thoughts and feelings are sticky. And for the vast majority of people, those thoughts and feelings will stay with them for the rest of their lives and to their graves. Now, here's the thing. Those thoughts and feelings are not you. Those thoughts and feelings are generated by neural networks that have evolved to keep humans alive. And for most of human history, this tactic worked out pretty well. But since the beginning of the 20th century or so, not so much. The neural networks that kept humans alive for so long have become our saboteurs. And they're sabotaging our performance, our relationships, and our happiness. Fortunately, we have science on our side. And people smarter than me, I don't know. I don't get it either. But they use a process called factor analysis to simplify all the ways we're sabotaged and found out that there's only 10 saboteurs that are driving the way we operate. And I got them right here. See if any of these names strike a chord with you. We've got the judge. We've got the controller. We've got the hyperachiever. We've got the restless. We've got the stickler. We have the pleaser. Hypervigilant. Avoider. We've got the victim. I had this one for a long, long time. And the hyper-rational. I swear, what a ragtag bunch of misfits and ne'er-do-wells. One colleague of mine calls these numbskulls the itty-bitty shitty committee. So here we are again. Which one of these things do you think you have? And go ahead and put them in the chat. Let's see if anything is coming up. And while we wait, let's keep going. Now, everybody has the judge. That's the one that's constantly finding faults in ourselves, in others, and in our circumstances. And you know when the judge is around, when you start hearing things like, Larry, why did you say that stupid thing yesterday? Or that guy just gave me a bad look. Or I'll be happy when I get the job, I get the car, I get the girl, whatever. The other 9 are the accomplices who help the judge make our lives miserable. And they each have their own style, but they all create negative thoughts and feelings that produce a lot of mental pain. And those sneaky bastards make you think you're the one doing it. Now, the good news. those same smart people who use the factor analysis have found another neural network that's actually working for us. And for our purposes, I'm calling this network the SAGE. Now, you can tell when the SAGE is at work. And that one shows up when you're empathizing with a child, when you're exploring a new city, when you're creating art or music or a new dinner recipe, when you figure out what's important and what's not, and when you finally take that leap, the one you need to make, and do that important thing. Now, the trick is to jump from saboteur mode to SAGE mode. And I've got a 3-step method on how you do that. Step 1, when you're having those negative thoughts or feelings that say, this is bad, recognize that you're in saboteur mode. Call the saboteur out with, I don't know, gotcha, you bastard. And if you can't identify a particular accomplice, that's okay. Call it out anyway. All right, step 2. Do an exercise that gets you out of your head and into your body. And we can do one right now. So, just shake your shoulders, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let it out. Breathe normally. And now take 2 fingertips and gently rub them together with such fine attention that you can feel the ridges of your fingertips. Yeah, it feels pretty woo-woo, doesn't it? But this is the kind of mental exercise that moves your awareness away from your thoughts, and it activates the SAGE network. And now, step 3. Now that you're in SAGE mode, apply the SAGE perspective. And that is, every outcome or circumstance can be turned into a gift and opportunity. And this is where people start to roll their eyes. And I know this seems like happy talk while the house burns down, but think about it. Would you rather live with the saboteur perspective that says, I'm bad, he's bad, this is bad, or the SAGE perspective that says, this is a gift and opportunity? And you get to choose whichever one you want, but just know that the perspective that you take, that's the one that becomes true. So, one more time. When you're having negative thoughts or feelings, stop. Call out the saboteur. 2, get out of your head and get into your body with the fingertip exercise. And 3, remember that every outcome or circumstance is a gift and opportunity. And this is how you remember you're awesome, and not in that pompous, self-important way. Make a habit of this, and this will impact your peak performance, your mental well-being, and your healthy relationships. So if you picked up any tidbit of information that inspired you, drop it in the chat. And if there's anything else that I want that I touched on and you want to go deeper, drop that in the chat too. And if you want to learn more about getting the most from your performance in whatever you do, becoming happier in whatever you do, or enhancing your romantic or your professional relationships, DM me and we'll talk. So let me just check for a second. I'm going to break away here and just check the chat and see what's going on here. Showing up. Love all the techniques. Nico, so insightful. Thank you, folks. All right. So leaving it with this. We're awesome. You're awesome. And we've got the science to prove it. So thanks, everybody. I will see you next week at this time for another Mental Fitness Friday.